not comply. You're listening to the sound of freedom. It's the Charlie Kirk Show.
You know, sometimes when you're talking about ad partners and this, sometimes if it's a little out of step with the theme of the show, and like today it's completely spot on, and that's with WhyRefi. We're talking about affordability, especially when it comes to Gen Z. How do we focus our domestic energy policy energy on making life more affordable for Gen Z? And WhyRefi does just that. Basically, if you have private student loans, which there are about $45 billion worth of these in the country, and if they are labeled as distressed or defaulted and nobody's helping you out, you can't make your payment, this is what you need to do. You need to go to whyrefi.com. That's YREFY.com, or call 888-WhyRefi34. Give them a chance to help lower your monthly payments to fit inside a budget that you can afford. Doesn't matter what your credit is. Doesn't matter who your co-borrowers are. They'll even let you skip a payment every 6 months up to 12 times without penalty. Who does that? I don't know who does that. They'll tailor it to your budget. That's the key. You're not going to call some nameless, faceless call center in India. Like, they're going to work with you, come up with a plan. You got to take control of your financial destiny and situation. So again, that is whyrefi.com or 888-WhyRefi34. Ryan James Girdusky joins us again in just 3 seconds. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. I'm Andrew Colvin, executive producer of this fine show with Blake Neff, as well as Ryan James Girdusky. Ryan, real quick, give us your coordinates here. Where can people follow you, find the work that you're doing?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Girdusky. I have a website, ryangirdusky.com, where you can get my great newsletter. I have a podcast in the iHeartRadio app and everywhere you get podcasts called The Numbers Game. And I have a PAC for education called the 1776 Project PAC, and we have a foundation called the 1776 Project Foundation.
What are you doing at the PAC there, just so people...
We invest in school board elections. So we did about 80 school board elections last week. We didn't do a great night, but we still won 27 of them. And then the foundation gets involved with those school boards to sit there and say, how do we improve reading levels? How do we get involved with discipline? How do we get rid of some critical race theory in your classrooms? How do we celebrate America's... Yeah, stuff like that. So
super important.
That matters a lot. I was reading just over the weekend about someone in a really conservative part of the country, but they just said the school board is like all kind of just libs because people don't pay attention to it. And it was like one guy blocking all the, insane race communism, and he lost re-election. So,
geez. So that school board is now screwed again. So actually, this
is all apply for an endorsement.
Yeah, exactly. So check out Ryan's stuff. He's doing great work. And I read your National Populist Substack all the time, your newsletter.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Andrew.
Absolutely. And by the way, which is why why we actually had you on here, is you had a contrarian take on New Jersey. It all ties in because Dems were playing the shutdown to juice up their base voters, especially, and it was smart because this is an off-year election. Our turnout, we have low prop voters, they have high prop voters, so you juice it. This is why we saw some of these margins increase over 2021 years. You say there's a glass half full interpretation of what we saw in New Jersey specifically. I'm sure you could extrapolate that out, but what is your take?
Yeah, so unlike Virginia, where Winsome Sears really didn't run a very good race, Chitterelli did run a very good race. He got 200,000 more votes, 122,000 more votes than he did last time. That being said, he would have won any election in New Jersey's history since 1973, except for the one last week, because turnout increased by more than 50%. But when you look at the very bare bones, metrics of where New Jersey is going, it's undeniably going in favor of Republicans. And I'll point this out. In the first year of the Trump administration in 2017, Democrats out-registered new voters in New Jersey 12,500 to Republicans. Republicans registered about 12,500. Democrats registered about 45,000. There was an immense blowback from when Trump first got in. Tens of thousands of new Democrats coming out of the woodwork, hundreds of thousands of new Democrats over the course of the 4 years. In the first year of this year, that all began to reverse when Biden became president, by the way. In the first year of this year, Democrats lost 8,600 voters in the first 10 months of this year, while Republicans gained 21,000 new voters, right? An unparalleled trajectory, completely different than when Trump first became president. That shows that where the trajectory of Jersey is going is undeniable. Even though we had an election loss, even though independents swung against us this one time, people would much rather be a Republican than a Democrat. And there's a point of clarity in New Jersey that the Democratic Party really isn't working there. Now, we've heard a lot about like the Latino vote, right? The Latino vote swung heavily. When you look at how the Latino vote voted in 2025 versus 2021 and 2017, they're still way more to the right than they were in 2017, right? They haven't lost all this huge support that we're going for Republicans. In some places, it's a double-digit increase. When you look at Republican versus Democrat increase in the raw vote, Republicans in many cities, in like Passaic, there was more raw vote increase towards Republicans over the last 8 years than there were towards Democrats. And actually, when the liberals like, oh, it's all immigration, when you look at what voters are talking about, it was cost of living, because you know what group swung even harder against Republicans than Latinos in this last election from compared to 2021? It was non-college educated whites. Non-college educated whites actually had a bigger swing because it's about affordability and they are feeling it, in the pocketbook. So it wasn't an immigration thing. It's not a Trump thing. It's a mixture of high propensity turnout from Democrats and anger over the economy.
So would you say that, and by the way, I'm glad you brought up Latinos, because one of the things Blake and I have talked a lot about is, these new maps out of Texas. A lot of that is contingent on Hispanics staying in the Republican column. You could over-engineer those maps and find yourself in a worse position, theoretically. So
100%.
Are you seeing that trend continue? Is it accelerating? What's happening with Latinos? And I know I'm talking about Texas and New Jersey, and it's probably two different things, but we got 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, there was a poll by Unados, which is not a great polling firm. They're pretty liberal. However, they polled Latinos and they said, what are your 5 biggest issues? 4 were related to the economy, cost of living, healthcare, housing, and the 5th one was gun violence. Immigration does not make the top 5. And when you look at where they project Hispanics to go versus where they went, it's about maybe a 5-point swing in the direction of Democrats, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not pre-2022 swing towards Republicans, 2020 swing towards
Do you think
Republicans.
that holds for Texas, too, real quick?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. All right.
Because Tejanos are more to the right than Latinos are.
Ryan James Girdusky, great work, my friend. Thank you for making the time today. I know you had to move some stuff around.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, Julie Kelly joins us next. We're going to talk pipe bomb, some news over the weekend.
January
we'll be right back.
6th, it's back.
It's back.